Here we go. So if we have movement, we've got a developer and a DBA. And Ben is going to shout if nothing happens here. Because what happens is I get a text message and it says, "Hi, Rob." Or it's Slack or it's Teams. No, we don't use no. Don't just say hello. Point people to knowhello.net. Sorry. Just wondering, can I have a new SQL instance, please? Of course, absolutely. Ben, of course, wants the latest and the greatest. He wants it to always be updated. He thinks he wants a managed instance. Yeah. He's got the ticket. He sent me the details. Oh, I'm going to have to go into the portal because it's just a quick thing to do. Oh, no. Sorry, it's going to take 6 hours. Ben is not amused with 6 hours. Okay, let's make it better for Ben. Let's give him the ability to create his own SQL managed instances whenever he wants. We'll make sure that they're always updated. Let me introduce you to Azure Arc enabled data services. So as we said, it's, oh, hang on a minute. Let's not do that. Let's do this instead. What we give him, yes, we can't change database name, is Azure Data Studio. And we say, hey, Ben, if you connect to this controller like this with the Azure Arc Data Controller extension, then what you can do, if we could just manage that, please, that would be awesome. What you can do is you can click this button here, which says New Instance. You want an Azure SQL Managed Instance, so we'll hit Select. Obviously, we accept these tools. It checks we've got these tools available. And now we need a name. So Ben's going to call it Ben-MI. We need an admin user and a password twice. This is always the trickiest bit when typing in demos. Replicas. Yeah, Ben wants to check all of the replicas. And where are we going to put our data and our logs? So Ben's local storage is a storage class for him to have his data and his logs stored separate from the containers. And then we put in some limits as to which cores and which memory he wants. And we hit this deploy button. Excellent. Please run these things. So we'll run this one and it'll cancel and then we'll run it again. Okay, so set up some things. Now we set some variables. Yeah. Now we'll log into our data controller. Excellent. And yep, we've logged in successfully. Now we can create our SQL managed instance. And if we go and have a look in our Kubernetes cluster, we can see that already we have 3 things starting. There's only 3 or 4 running. So let's go back to the important bit, because you need to know what's happening. Azure Arc enabled data services is available anywhere, gives you one centralized control over your SQL managed instances or Postgres SQL hyperscales. And they can live anywhere. They can live in Azure, they can live in AWS, they can live in Google Cloud, they can live on your own hardware somewhere, and they're using Kubernetes. Don't be scared of that. After all, we've developed from having SQL instances installed on hardware to putting them onto virtualized machines to putting them in containers. Now we go to Kubernetes. Somebody else can set up all of the Kubernetes cluster infrastructure. And then we can use the tooling that we're used to. So we could use Azure Data Studio to create an instance, or we can use the portal if we have a directly controlled data controller. The data controller is what makes sure everything happens. It does the dashboard, it does metrics. We've got Kibana and Grafana logs, Grafana metrics and Kibana logs available to us. It controls backup restore, makes high availability, enables us to provision. We've seen all of that. So let's see how our instance is doing. If we have a look, we can see that 4 of 4. Ben's MI is ready. So we can have a look at Ben's MI, and it's going to show us that we've got some endpoints. So if we can find the right endpoint, we can go and create. Now, it might be that Ben wants to use code to create a managed instance. So we can look using AZ SQL mi-arc create help, and it will show us how to create an instance. Set up some values. This time we're going to create Ben's second MI, 2 limits, core request of 1, just because we better make sure everything's all right. And we press go. And now that is going to deploy. If we were to go and look at our pods, we'd see that Ben's second MI is beginning. Ah, of course. Come on, Rob. You said that this has just been created. How do we know? Well, if we go back to our Azure Arc data controller, it's going to show us that we've got our instance ready. And you can see Ben's MI is ready. Ben's second MI is creating. So we can go and grab our connection strings. Here's our external endpoint. And now we could do, let's grab that. Thank you very much. Now we could do something like this. If we connect to our instance, we put in Ben admin. We'll hope that Rob can type a password 6 times. And we'll press connect. Bingo, we're in. Let's create a database. So we're going to create our database. Let's kind of start doing everything ready. Obviously, my infrastructure is working hard. There we go. We've created a database. Now we could go to our database project. We can click publish. We could select our connection or create a connection. Go. Look at this. Type passwords. We'll press connect. I probably needed to put a database in there. Good work, Rob. And admin. Rob is awesome. We'll click Ben's amazing database DB version 1 for real this time, and then we'll click publish. So now what we should have is a deployment of our database in place. So whilst that's deploying, let's come back over here and create ourselves a connection. Oh, actually, we will use this connection. And we'll put the password in, because that's important. So we've connected, and we've created our database, and we've lost our query window. So we're going to try this window, and we're going to connect to our managed instance and see that we are in Ben MI1. Excellent. If we went back to here and ran our show, because remember, this had 3 replicas, we've got a secondary endpoint. Let's connect to the secondary endpoint. This is our read-only endpoint. So when we connect to it, we should actually connect to a different instance. We'll change to the different port. We'll press connect. It was on 0. And now we're on Ben MI1. Excellent. So that is our read intent replica. And I wonder, has our deployment, well, no, that deployment's completed. Where is our deployment gone? Is it there? No. Is it there? No. Let's try doing it this way then. There we go. We've got Ben's amazing database. And if we refresh it, we will see that it hasn't completed yet. Go on, do the thing. 19 seconds. I've lost it. Look at that. So close, so close. But let's have a look and make sure that we've got Ben's second MI. So in 10 minutes, We've created a 3 replica MI and a single replica MI, and we've published a database using Azure Arc enabled data services. If you want to learn more, go and Google about it and you can find it all yourself. Thank you very much. My name's Rob.